All right, good morning, folks. This is Tim Ealer. I hope you all doing well this morning. We have a really potential serious situation here on our hands as Melissa is getting better organized this morning. And here's a long wave infrared showing how intense the convection is ongoing with Melissa right now. It's still a little bit sheared from the west, a little bit, but likely to become a hurricane very soon. And forecasts will generally move in this direction and go right up into Jamaica. Um, Not only is it's supposed to get very intense, possibly Cat 5, heavy rainfall, catastrophic rainfall amounts are possible. But these are very deep. This is very deep convection here. um, so, not much more to say, really, other than uh, pray for these folks and hope that people are prepared for this. I don't know. When you live on an island, what can you do other than get to high ground? That's about the only thing you can do, really. So, anyway, tough to think about. But there's Melissa. Here's the latest key messages on Melissa. Catastrophic flooding continues into early next week for Haiti. That hasn't been really talked about, but it's been ongoing, right? Dominican Republic, same thing. Eastern Cuba, Bahamas, Turks and Caicos should all monitor um, Melissa closely. Jamaica is probably the biggest short-term concern, along with Haiti, and then, um, well, one thing I didn't mention was storm surge. That's definitely something to think about. The landfall and hurricane. Um, Anybody that lives along the coast should be very mindful of this. Okay. All right. So, a lot going on here. Here's the latest track. I don't know why. What is going? Why is that? Sorry. Yes, this is the current one. 5 a.m. The current position here. For some reason, I thought it was 2 or something. But move a little bit to the north, and then to the west, and then take a sharp turn to the north here, somewhere around Jamaica. But you see how large the cone is right here still. Uh, Still a wide range of possibilities, although the forecast is a lot more certain at this point. But direct landfall, exact landfall location where the eye wall, if it does come on shore, where it's going to come on shore is very important. If it skirts the shoreline, let's just say moves this way, that could be really bad. So, say it moves this way and then goes up like that. Or if it's just right off the shore and moves slowly along to the right of the circulation is where probably the most rainfall and the highest winds will be. And we should be mindful of that, of course. You see the asymmetrical wind field still not as organized as it could be, but it's getting there, and it's forecast to rapidly intensify in the next 24 hours. And we'll show that intensity forecast in a minute. After I'm done with talking about the Melissa, I'm going to go over the continental U.S. Forecast. There's some big changes going on as far as weather goes. I had some severe weather yesterday. This is a rainfall forecast, and so lower confidence further out in the forecast period, but 20 to 30 inches of rain. I don't, in addition to whatever they've already had, um, and any additional rain on Dominican Republic and Haiti will be devastating. Okay. Hey, I'd love for this not to happen, but this is what we think might happen. So, you know, this is not good. All right. So, this is the latest, another look at the intensity guidance here from the Tomerberg website. Um, as of 9 UTC, which is around 5 a.m. here. Let's see, roughly in this area, forecast becoming close to a Cat 5 here. National Hurricane Center official forecast Cat 5, um, just to the south of Jamaica, making landfall as a Cat 4. So, and the current intensity 70 mile per hour, 986 millibars. So, on the cusp of being a hurricane here. All right. This is the latest ground ensemble. Pretty tightly clustered now. Although there's still some variation in the track guidance, it's a lot more certain, and it's actually faster than it was, but still slow in the short to medium term. So we'll be talking about this for quite a few days still. This initialized this morning at 00Z, so it was a bit older, but still pretty accurate as far as what we're looking at here. The GFS has finally given up its sharp rightward turn over Dominican Republic and Haiti, so thank goodness for that. And this is the most recent intensity guidance from Mellissa. You can see the deep mind, the HAFS models, HAFS A and B, and HWRF isn't nearly as intense. And National Hurricane Center official forecast is on the top end here. I think this is as of 2 a.m. This isn't the most recent intensity forecast, but you get the general idea here. GFS is less aggressive. It doesn't have the, this is the early arriving. So, anyway, you get what's going on here. All right. So, intensity forecast is, it has a high ceiling with the warm ocean waters, divergence aloft, and lessening shear over the system. So we will likely have a Cat 4 or 5, well, probably have a Cat 4 or 5 hurricane here next 24 or 36 hours. All right. So there's another look at it. The true color short wave at night from the Tropical Tidbits website. Um, really compact system, but definitely better organized than it was yesterday. There's another look at it from IR brightness. All right. This is the HMON hurricane model. This is Sunday in the tomorrow morning. HMON right over Jamaica. All right. Have say. This is Monday. This is Sunday. All right. Definitely faster than it was a few days ago, but likely a very strong hurricane making landfall somewhere in Jamaica. Okay. Same thing with the half speed. Not quite the sub 900 millibar values we were getting a few days ago, but I wouldn't rule that out yet. It could intensify more than forecast here, but we'll just see. This is the URAL model. See how a lot of the precip, like the most intense precip or convection, is thrown off to the right here. So that's not unusual for tropical systems. All right. And European model, just going on all of the options here, guys. See where it takes it. Kind of meanders over Jamaica. Maybe changes position to the right there because of land interaction. Um, Goes through some of the Bahama Islands there. All right. GFS, finally, it's still to the right of a lot of solutions, which would be better for Jamaica, of course, but then for the eastern tip of Cuba and Haiti, not so good, or Dominican Republic. So I think the GFS is still too far to the right still, but we have to respect it. But after its crazy runs with this storm, I'm not too keen on taking much credence to what it's saying here. Canadian model, it's been always been a left bias with this system. It's no different here. Let me see if I have a more recent run of this. No, I think this is an outlier here. I don't, although it's over Jamaica, a little bit further to the left. Kind of goes to the south of Jamaica and then sharp right turn. It takes a turn later on, right? Okay. So lastly, the icon model, it's got the 6Z runs already coming in. So it's kind of similar to the GFS, and then it's on to the right, or a right we're moving. But you can see how much better agreement are in the models, unfortunately. So one more thing I wanted to show you was a simulation of from the Caribbean islands here of precipitations amounts through, let's see, the end of the period with Mellissa on Jamaica. See where the bullseye is here, and then maybe a mountainous area, talking 220, 250 millimeters or more. Go to the end and stop. All right. Um, this is Monday, 27th October, and this is the event's not over yet. So, and they may be underestimating this precip and where the storm will be. So, anyway, I just wanted to show you that. So, um, that's all I got for Mellissa. Next, I'm going to go over the continental U.S. forecast. Okay, so this is the continental U.S. We're going to go over the forecast for the next several days. We have a potent feature moving through the flow here today with severe weather chances in this area. We had some severe weather last night, um, precursor to multiple systems moving through the general flow here, and eventually a really massive cool down in the east. At least that's what the forecast is right now, and a pretty strong system moving into the northwest here. This is a mid-level water vapor loop, so you see the darker greens here. It indicates more moisture. We got looks like a jet streak flow going into this enhancing convection here and spreading out in general, right? And so we turn over to the radar, see what's going on here. We got a pretty strong line. Looks like an MCS, maybe moving through the flow here. MCV. Um, severe weather ongoing with some overrunning moisture to the north here, and onshore flow in the northwest, and some flow here into Florida, and maybe some overrunning moisture going up this way. So, what was the severe weather yesterday? Well, we had a few land spouts up here in northwestern Texas, some high winds, and hail, but overall not no non-land spout, no regular tornadoes, if regular is even a thing. So I want to show you that. Um, what are the current hazards going on right now? There's a lot going on. We got flood watch into parts of Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, um, Oklahoma. Dense fog advisory for the Central Plains. Freeze warning for the Mid-Atlantic into the Ohio Valley, and all kind of stuff going on up here in the Northwest. Looks like winter storm warning. You also have severe thunderstorm watch and warnings down here in southeastern Texas and southeastern um, Louisiana. A lot of high wind warnings, wind and weather advisories for the mountains. So there's quite a bit going on, quite active right now. Switching over to the radar. Let's take this off. Right. Showing the same thing as I showed on the other radar with the satellite. So that's where the most precip is right now. So let's take that off and go to the severe weather outlook. Slight risk all along the Gulf Coast here. Marginal risk is extending further north, covering Shreveport, San Antonio, Corpus Christi, New Orleans. Excuse me. And some other marginal risks up here in the northwest. Very potent system moving onshore here. So, what are the risks today? Tornado risk along the northwest coastline here. Marginal risk, which a 5% tornado risk along the Gulf Coast, and a 2% risk further inland of tornadoes today. Wind is the biggest threat today along the Gulf Coast and in the northwest here. Let's see if we have any hail threat for today. Oh, we have a hatched risk of hail into Texas, likely due to steeper lapse rates and more enhanced convection here. So, significant hail risk of greater 2 inches in diameter in Texas today, and the larger slight risk and marginal risk surrounding it. So, for tomorrow, the threat of marginal risk moves further east here along the Gulf Coast. The trough is and I'll show you this, is de-amplifying. So it's becoming less potent as it moves through the flow here. Probably likely, yeah, marginal tornado risk here and wind risk along the coast there. No hail risk tomorrow. We'll look at probabilistic for day 3. We don't have any risk as of right now for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So that's the severe weather risk. What's the excessive rainfall outlook? Of course, we know where the flood watches are, so we know we got a slight risk of excessive rainfall here in a good portion of Louisiana, parts of Mississippi, a larger marginal risk going into the central U.S. and along the northwest coast. This threat moves further east along the Gulf Coast with a marginal risk with that short wave moving through the flow. Day 3, interestingly enough, we have a bullseye here in South Carolina and Georgia. I don't know if that's going to be realized. It's been really dry out here, so going to have to rain pretty hard to meet the flood criteria here. Going for day 4 and 5. I don't. That risk returns here for the Appalachians. Day 4 and 5. I mean day 5. What are the multi-day precip totals? Of course, along the northwest and along the Gulf Coast, we have the most rainfall expected as the storms move. Well, we have some rainfall off the coast here, the Carolinas. This system moving further east. Of course, the rainfall moves further east, and this is 5-day totals, right? So yeah, we go back day 1 and 2, day 1 to 3, day 1 to 5, and day 1 to 7. Quite a bit of rain here along the northwest coast, probably the most in the nation, really, and right along the Gulf Coast here. I'm not the Gulf Coast, the southeast coast. Looks like southern Georgia is not going to get much still, which is not good. But in the Appalachians, North Georgia into the mountains will get some. And it's a time of year for these systems on the northwest coast to be coming on shore more. So I would expect to see more rainfall. But this is it's not too bad, 4 or 5 inches over 7 days, so not too bad. So let's go over the what's going on here. This is the European output, 500 millibars, mid-level flow. You see that mid-level shortwave, potent shortwave moving through the flow here. stays pretty coherent up through Monday, but then de-amplifies some and gets absorbed into the mean flow. You see the flow kind of split here. You have what looks like subtropical jet, maybe moving through this way. Polar jet. I don't know if it's actually the polar jet or not, but this may be just the polar jet splitting. But anyway, you see what's happening here. You got a split flow with a system off the shore of the East Coast here. High pressure up here. This system sneaking under it, right? Moving through here, you see what's happening here. You got another trough deepening along the southeast. The orientation of this trough isn't that impressive for severe weather. If it becomes negatively tilted before it, um, if it was to amplify more before it got here, this jet streak is pretty impressive. Let's look at 200 millibars. Yeah, 112 knots. That's pretty impressive. Anyway, it swings to the north here. You can potentially get wherever this sets up. It looks like it may put a low off the coast here. Northwest flow, general ridge building in out west, and then we get the big push here. Trough builds along the east. This looks like a upper level low is trapped in the flow. Towards the end of the period, even a bigger system moves through here. This is a deep trough here, uh, bringing likely. Look at the jet streak here. Forecast 150 knots. That's um that's pretty impressive here at the upper levels. You compare it to the other system moving through. Not nearly as impressive and as strong. And he moved through the flow here. Wow. So this could potentially bring just look at that building off there. It doesn't really become negatively tilted, it's more progressive, but we'll just have to see what happens there. This is the moving on to the precip type and rate. This is the European model 00Z moving through time here. See where the most precip is and storms moving along the Gulf Coast and then Intermountain West here along the Northwest Coast. Kind of washes out. Low develops offshore, moves out to sea. Another one develops offshore, tries to move up the coast. And you have looks like that trough developing here that we saw in the mid levels. Wants to spin up a low. It's looks like it's a inland rider, and you have Mellissa down here finally. That low moves up into the Canadian Maritimes. Another system comes on the northwest, right? And you see this low pressure developing here. This is right pretty far south. We haven't seen this many low pressures really develop along the Gulf Coast, the surface lows, in a while. Energy transfers offshore here. You see what happened there? Low moves up. This is really hard to predict, like how far offshore it'll be, whether or not it'll be a nor'easter or not impacts. And if this trough becomes more negatively tilted, this would slow down, and maybe this would be able to draw us from colder air. We may have more of a impact here. You see, now they got like an Alberta clipper moving through the flow here. So that's way far out, but just wanted to show you that. As far as temps go, let's go through it. This is 24-hour max temps. You get the general idea of where the warmest and coldest temps are based on the colors. The deeper, um, deeper, darker colors are hotter, and of course, the cooler colors are cooler, like blue, green, etc. Right? Look at that. Look at the. Let's see. What time is this? 18Z. That's pretty cool for daytime. All right. And the desert southwest stays hot. Warming up briefly in the northwest here. Okay. And you can see ahead of this trough coming through how warm it gets. Right. Pretty nice temperatures here. And most of the nation warms up quite a bit. Here it comes. Quite cold. Although in the central U.S. it gets warm again. But this is pretty cold right here. So if we switch to minimum temps for this period, 30s, 20s, and go back some. All right. So yeah, look at the Intermountain West getting really cold. Anyway, you get the general idea. It's going to get colder for towards the end, like the middle of the first part of November. Better get your long sleeve shirts out. So um, that's all I got for today, guys. Y'all stay safe out there, and God bless.